Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about Exposure by Wilfred Owen, and we're going to have a really quick run through based on 5 points from the poem. So to begin with, the poem starts with the line, "Our brains ache." And our brains ache because there is a merciless iced east wind. Really good idea to learn these 2 quotes. Our brains ache, we start off in the first person plural. We're referring to brains, which can be a physical kind of headache, but also an intellectual and a painful ache of the mind, so an emotional ache. So immediately we understand that the soldiers here are in pain. And why are they? Because something is merciless, and that's the iced east wind. We get that assonance there with the E cutting through, but also the sibilance with the s, which is kind of a really snowy, icy feel to it. So we start off, this is the poem where our brains are aching and the soldiers are in distress. Secondly, this is one where nothing happens. We've got that refrain at the end of every stanza. Quite often, not always, quite often it's, but nothing happens. And I think this is really key. This is reflective of the stalemate stage of the war. This is reflective of the tension in the air where the soldiers are always having to be prepared for something, but nothing happens. They wait and wait. And the only fighting they get is really against the elements, against being exposed to these terrible elements. Thirdly, this is also the poem where the soldiers stare, snow-dazed, and they drowse, sun-dozed. So we've got that lovely half rhyme there, dazed, dozed, snow and sun, the comparisons of the 2 types of weather, but both of these are being dazed or dozed. They're in a kind of transition between waking and sleeping, and perhaps this idea of them actually dying is in there. They're not really sure about what's happening, except about the bitterness of the weather, and they're feeling attacked by the weather. And those images of snow-dazed and sun-dozed soldiers are really quite powerful examples of how the sound of the poem and the way Owen has constructed these phrases suggest the kind of confusion and the daisy-doziness of these soldiers. This is also the poem, number 4, where we get that quote, "We turn back to our dying." So this is the poem where the soldiers have been able to think, they send their ghosts and they reflect on their previous life and they reflect on why they're doing this, and they look at the mice running round and the home fires burning, but then they have to sadly turn back to our dying. And this is a really poignant moment in which we recognise, as we read through the poem, that what they are talking about, what Owen is talking about here, is the process of dying. And we get that picked up in the imagery at the very end with the burial party, the people who are going out to bury the dead. Talking about dying, we also have this difficult line, "Love of God seems dying." Perhaps God's love is dying for them. Perhaps there's a general feeling that we can't love God anymore because it seems to be dying because we're being treated so cruelly, and this terrible war is there and treating us badly. Or perhaps love of God seems dying. It's kind of appropriate for dying, and therefore we were born to do this and we are sacrificing ourselves in order to do this. So some very difficult ideas there, and some very poignant, tragic ideas. So hopefully that's helped you reconfigure that poem in your head. And if it's the night before you're doing an essay on this, good luck. Please remember to ping that like button and subscribe.